This is going to be career advice for anyone who is trying to get into cybersecurity. So as someone who's been working in cybersecurity for the last 3.5 years now, I'm very much in my early career, and even in the last 3.5 years, I feel like I've learned so much. Everything ranging from the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I wanted to share some of my advice and tips with you guys I've learned along the way in this video. The first thing to know going in is the fact that the world usually won't end if you make a mistake. Now, I do think cybersecurity is definitely not the most forgiving field in terms of making mistakes on the job, or maybe breaking something, or having something go offline. Those are probably the worst nightmares of every security analyst who is just starting out in their early career or entry level. Obviously, no one wants to be responsible for taking down an entire system, especially if it's something critical or something that the company is relying on, or their clients or customers are relying on. So yes, while there are definitely high stakes when it comes to not making mistakes within your cybersecurity role, because typically mistakes in cybersecurity means that there is going to be some compromise or some damage made to the CIA triad, or the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data systems, or anything else that your company is protecting as a security asset. But I want to add in here that mistakes are inevitable in everyone's career. There's no way that someone will go through their entire career without ever making a mistake, or without ever taking something down, or causing something to crash. It's just not possible unless you're just not doing anything, which of course, in that case, then maybe. But if you're actually doing the hands-on work, learning something new, trying different things at work, doing what you're supposed to do basically, and learning new things, then something is bound to go wrong at some point. And I don't think it's something to beat yourself up over. I think it's something to learn from and not do again. I would say the first time I made a big mistake in my early career was probably within my first few months of working, and I won't go into the technical details, but it basically impacted my entire team, and that was something that I felt so badly for so long. But it also prompted conversations with my manager and other teammates about their first mistakes that they made when they first joined the job, and things that they've done wrong, little personal mistakes or errors that have been made that they've then caught and fixed afterwards. So honestly, I feel like that is just what makes us human. Human error is just inevitable, and I don't think it's something to beat yourself up over. Especially in your early career, just know that you're still learning, growing, and continuing forward. Even if something feels really dire at the moment, a few months or years down the line, you really won't be thinking about it on a regular basis. But what's important is really just to learn from it and move forward so you don't make the same mistakes again. And the next thing I want to discuss is keeping yourself secure, especially your passwords. And I'd like to thank NordPass Business for sponsoring today's video. See NordPass Business in action linked here, as well as in my description below. NordPass Business is a security solution that solves real-world problems for businesses, specifically around increasing the productivity as well as the security of your team. NordPass Business is one of the best and most reliable password managers out there to help protect and manage your company's digital products, data, documents, and anything else that you would like to keep secure. There's a lot of repetitive, tedious, but urgent IT issues that you can deal with on a regular basis that can take up a lot of time. And resetting passwords, for instance, can take up to 11 hours of employee time each year, based on a recent study. With NordPass, your team can seamlessly get access to sensitive information across your different devices with strong, hard-to-hack passwords that are stored and populated automatically. You get the power to identify breaches before they ever harm your business, and control over access to company systems as well as your time back. You can store sensitive information in an encrypted vault, and team members can get quick and easy access to their payment and personal information as well as their secure notes. With NordPass, you can also forget about account resets due to forgotten passwords, since they are securely stored and updated from the members' vaults themselves. NordPass also populates login field automatically, which saves you time and hassle from going back and looking for different passwords. Another awesome perk of NordPass Business is the fact that it can implement strong passwords by default for your team, so you don't have to worry about weak passwords that are vulnerable to dictionary attacks and other brute force attacks on passwords. And you also don't have to worry about coming up with a different password every single time, as well as not reusing passwords that may be compromised or used across different business accounts. NordPass Business will create a strong password by default for you, so it takes away all the hard work of coming up and remembering complex passwords. NordPass Business will also notify you of different data breaches directly on their app, as well as show you high and low risk accounts across your network. You can give and revoke access as needed, as well as enhance the overall security of your organization with company-wide settings. So if you're someone who is looking for a password management solution for your business, I would definitely recommend NordPass. You can check out NordPass Business linked in my description below and see them in action using my code and the link on the screen, as well as in the description. Thank you so much to NordPass for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to the rest of the video. The The next topic I want to go over is finding multiple different mentors in different areas of cybersecurity. So I think this is something that really helped elevate me in terms of finding out what I really wanted to do in cybersecurity and eventually realizing that I do enjoy just trying out a bunch of different things, and that is why I prefer being a generalist versus a specialist that for example may be going into a specific role in cybersecurity and kind of getting more and more niche the further you go in your career. Personally for me, I like having breadth over depth. Personally for me, I would prefer learning a bunch of different things about many different topics, and I think having a mentor really helped me realize that quickly and early in my career. For example, I had a mentor on the red team, I also had a mentor that was on the blue team, and I had a mentor who was a security manager on the security engineering team, and I really feel like I've learned so much from everyone that I've gotten to meet with one-on-one or talk to or been able to learn about their work and their day-to-day roles. It was kind of like I was able to vicariously live through them and understand the roles that they were in, the kind of work that they do, and decide for myself whether or not I would like to be in that position in a few years or if that's something I would like to do down the line at all. So I really think that it does help to have many different mentors. Of course, it should always be a two-way street. It shouldn't just be like you meeting up with them and kind of quizzing them on things that they're doing and knowing. It really is about building a relationship, and down the line that really will help you also just be able to have a larger network to be able to go to for advice or questions, as well as be able to help them out with anything that they may need from you. It's really all about just sharing your experience and your knowledge between different people and different teams, and I think that is really the beauty of having mentors, as well as mentoring others. If you're someone who is currently in your early career and maybe you're mentoring someone who is a college student or high school student or a bootcamp student, you really just learn a lot learning from people as well as them learning from you. And I would even go as far to say that if you have a mentor, for example, in digital forensics, it can be somewhat similar to having a rotation in a digital forensics team without actually having to be in that team. Because typically with mentors, you will connect with them on a regular basis and have recurring meetings. It really does give you a glimpse into what it's like being on that team, learning more about what they're doing, the skills that they use, the tools that they use, what they need to do to kind of maintain their skill set and competitiveness in that specific sector. And having a mentor really does help you give that inside look to what that job looks like, and eventually help you figure out whether or not you would like to join that team as well. Especially if you're someone who is like me and always trying to see what roles are out there, what kinds of things that you can try, what things that you can do. So definitely try to find multiple different mentors in multiple different areas of your life. It doesn't just have to be cybersecurity. It could be other roles in tech or even outside of tech if you have multiple different interests. And the next topic I want to discuss is learning different skill sets. This one is a little bit similar to the mentors, but this one is a lot more related to active learning and taking action on the things that you want to learn. So personally for me, when it comes to learning different skills, it really is just me following my intuition and following what I want to learn. For example, one of my goals for this year was to learn more reverse engineering skills using different decompilers and debuggers, and that's currently what I'm going through. But the main reason I was interested in this area of cybersecurity specifically is just because of the fact that I came from a software engineering background and I kind of wanted to look at code even if I wasn't coding on a regular basis. And I felt like reverse engineering was a really good kind of like area that was in between. Obviously I am not a pro, but I do have teammates who are really good, and they were definitely killing it in a lot of the CTFs that we were doing. But for the most part, I am very much a complete beginner. A lot of the time that I spent was really just on learning the tool itself, understanding how to read assembly, knowing all the different types of registers and flags, and also just understanding how the stack, the heap, everything works together, because everything is kind of just a bunch of different pieces right now that don't necessarily fit together as well as I would like them to. And personally for me, that is what I find interesting. I also just think it sounds like a very useful tool to have, but I may not necessarily go into specifically reverse engineering or malware analysis for my next job or for my next role. It really is just following my interests and whatever might be relevant during this point in time that could eventually lead you down to your next path of your next job or your next promotion or your next company that you want to go for. And I really think that the more skill sets that you learn, basically what I consider a skill set is a group of skills or tools that pertain to a specific area. So if you learn how to use a bunch of debugging or decompiling tools, as well as more information about the different applications out there that you can debug, and then maybe another skill set would be around digital forensics, and then another skill set may be around web application security, where you may be using different scanners or maybe certain network security tools like Nmap or Wireshark. So after a while of continuing to learn different cybersecurity tools, you're going to eventually have different pockets of knowledge that don't seem relevant at first together, but eventually they'll kind of make the amalgamation of your entire experience and knowledge base. And I feel like that is the kind of experience that is well-rounded enough to help you get to different places in your career. And this is relevant even if you're someone who wants to be an SME or a subject matter expert in network security, for example. It will still be helpful to you to learn other skills outside of network security because you may be using those other tools in future projects or with other teams, or maybe just working with someone else on something that combines both your skill sets, because I really think that in the future a lot of technology teams and silos will really be combined to no longer have these really strict silos of this is network security, this is cloud security, this is XYZ. And I really think there's going to be a bigger meshing of the different fields in cybersecurity, as well as just different fields in tech and outside of tech. I feel like there's going to be a lot of different multidisciplinary areas that are going to come together to build the future of the world and like humanity. And I know you guys didn't come here to listen to this, but basically I feel like it doesn't hurt to learn skills outside of the areas that you're primarily working on in your day-to-day job. The next one is more of a serious one, but it is definitely still important, and that is to continuously study for certifications. So cybersecurity is definitely a field where certifications are definitely like cash is king, certifications are king, something like that. Certifications, while they're not necessarily required for a lot of jobs in cybersecurity, they're typically considered preferred experience or preferred qualifications, where a company may not even consider you to be a candidate if you don't have certain certifications, whether it's the Security Plus, the CISSP, the CEH, the OSCP. There's just so many certifications in cybersecurity, and because of the fact that cybersecurity can be a relatively highly regulated area, lots of companies, especially government agencies and defense contractors, they may require you to have some sort of certification or a security clearance depending on the regulations that they actually have to comply with. Even if your company isn't necessarily in government, maybe they work with government clients or clients that touch specific data that is secret or top secret. So it really does depend on what sector you're in, but it's never going to hurt you if you have a certification as one of your qualifications. And the last thing I want to discuss is to be vocal with the projects you want to work on. Now obviously this will vary depending on the company and the sector that you're in. Not everyone is going to get to pick and choose the perfect beautiful project that they want to work on, but I do think that many companies will provide some kind of flexibility in terms of helping you get to the place that you want to go. And if that isn't the case, then it's fine, and you just want to make sure that that's a goal for your future job, that you want to go into a sector or project that you really want to work on and are passionate about. But for example, I think for smaller to medium-sized companies, they're definitely the ones that have the most flexibility in terms of the project that you might want to work on. For example, there may be parts of the security program that aren't yet implemented yet, and I think that's one of the best ways to grow in your career. Working for a smaller to medium-sized company, I think that's like the sweet spot for cybersecurity, because that is often when they're growing their cybersecurity teams. Maybe they're going for certain certifications or being evaluated by external sources. They're also just forming the overall cybersecurity program of the company, and being able to be a part of that and grow and help provide insight into what it could become is definitely a very, very good experience. For example, I'm currently working in a smaller company, and I definitely feel very empowered and definitely feel a lot of responsibility to help my team get to where it wants to be. And I know for a fact that if I was working at my previous company, which was a very large fintech company, I would not be working on the same things that I'm working on here. That would be given to like an SVP or someone who is very much more senior than I currently am. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. If you aren't able to work on or find the projects that you find meaningful or impactful or interesting on a regular basis in your current role, I would definitely try to look for other places that may be able to help pique your interest a little bit more in terms of the cybersecurity projects that you're working on. And definitely strike up those conversations with your manager, as well as other people on your team, as well as outside of your team, to see what areas that you can help go into and do some stretch projects if that is something that you want to do. Alright, so that's it for this video. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments below. Don't forget to check out NordPass Business as the best password manager solution for businesses. You can use my code and the link on the screen, as well as linked in the description below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on post notifications. I post videos every Wednesdays and Sundays at 12 p.m. and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!